It's time to see the answers to your word identification sort. Word identification is the ability for a child to read the words in text with minimal effort. There are two paths to how children and adults can read words on the page. We'll find those two paths in the purple boxes on our graphic organizer. Let's see what they are. If you placed immediate identification on the left side of your organizer and mediated identification on the right side of your organizer, then you are correct. Immediate identification is the ability for a reader to know a word in print immediately, in a flash. This means that it is normally memorized, something they know proficiently. Mediated identification, on the other hand, is what we do as readers when we do not know a word in print. We have to figure it out. The process of figuring it out is called mediated identification. There are three main skills that go under immediate identification. These are the skills that students have if they know words immediately. Let's see what they are. Word recognition, sight word recognition, and phonics are the skills that students will have in place if they have immediate identification of a word in print. Word recognition is the ability to know words that are related to what they're learning. So these will be their vocabulary words that they are familiar with. Think about if you're starting a new theme in your classroom related to color words, just like in our story, Mouse Paint. Word recognition would be the ability of a child to know the color words immediately or have them memorized. So when they see them, they don't have to think about them or sound them out. They just know them immediately. Sight word recognition is very much related to word recognition, but sight words are high frequency words. And there are lists of the top 100 words we encounter when we read, the top 200 words, the top 300 words. And when students have these in place, these are the filler words, or the words they'll see time and time again in stories. By having a sight word program, children begin memorizing the words that they encounter in print, and they recognize these by their memory. So word recognition and sight word recognition is knowing a group of words by memory. Sight words are our high frequency words, and word recognition words are the words that we would know based on the topic we're learning about. Now, the last category under immediate identification is phonics. And phonics is actually a strategy students use, but they must have phonics skills in place to immediately identify words. And so, although they may not know a word, they can figure it out very quickly because they know the phonics pattern of the word. Take the word cat. They would know that C says k. They know that immediately. And then they say the at, and they know that at says at. A-T says at. So when they see that word in print, they might not know the word cat, but they know k, at, and they can crash it together and blend it to make cat. Now, we might not say that's 100% immediate, but the brain processes this so quickly that they figure it out. So we still put this ability to know phonics skills under immediate identification. You think about it and think about how strangely our spelling works in the English language. When boys and girls know big chunks of phonics, they can apply it very quickly to words. Think about IGHT says it. Every time they see it in a word, all they have to do is look at the beginning and add it to the word. So when they see LIGHT, they say light, light. Think about, see another example would be ache, A-K-E. When they see any word that has ache at the back, all they have to do is put the front letter on. So cake, C-A-K-E, they'd recognize immediately. This is where we teach boys and girls using word families and analyzing the similarities in words And this is the structure of a solid phonics program. Now, we're going to move to the mediated side. And the mediated side of our word identification chart is that ability to figure a word out systematically and sometimes slowly for our new readers. Let's see what words belong over there. Skills that are required for mediated identification are word attack, word context, and word analysis. These three skills make up the skill of decoding. So when we ask boys and girls to decode the words on the page, it means to figure out what the word is. Almost like it's a puzzle. They're decoding the words. And then to do this, to decode, they have to use word attack skills, word context skills, and word analysis skills. Now, what are each of these skills? Word attack skills are the ability to pick the word apart systematically and to look visually at the word. And so this is where they're going to be applying the phonics concepts, but it's where they have to do it very slowly and systematically because maybe they don't know immediately all of the sounds. We think about when boys and girls learn sounds. One of the things that's difficult about our English language is some of the sounds in our English language some of the letters make different sounds. Just think about the letter C. Sometimes C says his hard sound, k, and sometimes he makes his soft sound, s. So boys and girls might have to try it out when they see the word place, P-L-A-C-E. If they're sounding it out, they might say pl, ack, plaque. Then they might say, oh, wait a minute, I see an E on the end. That E is going to change my word so the A says his name. Then they try ache, plake. They know that that's not a word. So then in their brains they think, oh my goodness, the C is making his other sound because he's at the end of a word. Let's try it again. Ace, place. So this systematic word attack is the ability for a child to apply phonics, but maybe make several attempts at a word because they have to keep trying it again and applying the phonics skills in a different order or pattern. We call this word attack our visual cue. They're using visually what the word looks like. Now, word context is the ability for a child or a reader to use the words around them to figure out what word would belong in the context of the sentence. And as developed readers, we use this all the time. If we're learning about something, let's say we're learning about fall leaves and we don't know the word rake, we can use the picture and we can use what we know about being outside in the fall to begin to think of words that will fit in the context of the sentence. This is a strategy that boys and girls will employ most times only after they've learned this technique from their teacher. Traditionally, parents prompt boys and girls who have to figure out a word to sound it out, and that's our word attack. But when a child can't always use sound it out because there's lots of broken rules in the word, then we have to look at the picture, think what makes sense, and begin to use the context of the picture and the sentence. We call this our meaning cue. The last area of mediated identification is word analysis. And word analysis is where boys and girls try to figure out a word in a sentence using the grammar of the sentence. So sometimes they know a noun is missing. Sometimes they know they're guessing a verb. Sometimes they're just thinking about how the words sound when you put them in order. Do they sound grammatically correct? We'll look at some examples of this a little later in our lesson, but boys and girls use this structural cue to figure out if the word they try makes sense. And that is that ability to decode the sentence. So you can see that Word identification really boils down to the child's ability to know the words on the page immediately or to have to figure them out and decode. When we talk about decoding, again, it's word attack, which is our visual cues, word context, which is the meaning of the sentence and the picture cues, and word analysis, which is the structural cues of the sentence, which are based on the grammar. When we get through our presentation today, we will see how you instruct boys and girls to learn how to be decoders of print and how we teach them to know words immediately. A balanced word identification program has to have components that match all of these skills for a child to truly be a proficient and fluent reader.